Well, we have with us, watching these pictures, I hope you can see them, Ashur Eskrya, Director of the Syrian Aid Society, joining me now from Duhok in Iraqi Kurdistan. Can you see the pictures at all of the Pope's plane and that welcoming?
Hello, I'm not seeing the TV now, but for a few minutes I was watching and waiting for that, yes.
Okay. If I interrupt, please forgive me, but we're just watching to see the first steps of the Pope from the plane. What are your thoughts as you prepare for this visit?
I think it's important because the situation in Iraq in general, Iraq is suffering almost for now years and years, not only after 2003, but before that until now, Iraq is under wars and from war to war, people need to recover. And importance of that is to bring peace to this community. I mean, all Iraqis in general, but as you mentioned, that's for what remained from Christian. And is there a future for Christian anymore in Iraq, especially Christian of Iraq are indigenous people of Iraq, are Assyrian Babylonian people. Their roots are deep in this land for thousands and years, and Iraq was a home for an oldest church maybe in the world, a church of 2,000 years in history, which were the headquarters of the church in Kuhi in Baghdad. So this is important for Christian as Assyrian, Chaldean, Syriac.
Okay, I'm just going to interrupt just to say we can now see Pope Francis embark from the plane as he takes those first steps down the stairs. His plane landed in Baghdad airport just a few minutes ago. And we are seeing that welcoming party, of course, the Vatican officials, and a formal welcoming party in Iraq. The first visit of the Pope since the pandemic erupted, of course, around the world. People are masked up, as you would expect. And the Pope has said that he comes to Iraq as a pilgrim of peace, wanting to reach out to Shiite Muslims when he meets Iraq's top cleric, the Grand Ayatollah Ali Sistani. He left Rome earlier today. This is a 4-day visit, and all eyes on how the Pope is greeted, not only by officials, but of course the public there in Baghdad. This has been home to Christians from the very earliest days of the religion. You can see the Pope just removing his mask there, briefly, just to have a greeting there as he waits at the top of the stairs before coming down. It looks fairly breezy there on the ground in Baghdad. And there will be a lot of security around this visit, given events of recent years. We understand the Pope has also had a vaccine, but there has been, of course, a very high rate of infection in Iraq as elsewhere, and therefore lots of protocols to be followed. Let's listen as we see Pope Francis descend from the plane and flown in from the Vatican as he makes this first historic visit to Iraq today. And the Pope there touching down on Iraqi soil in Baghdad airport for this 4-day visit. The number of Christians has fallen. We're seeing the Pope put his mask back on there. The number of Christians has fallen. We're seeing, I think, children there greeting Pope Francis, surrounded by photographers. Very difficult, obviously, with all the COVID protocols also to be observed, but of course, at least this is outside. The Pope is 84, so there will be concerns obviously about keeping him absolutely as safe as possible in every sense, but also obviously wanting to be seen, wanting to be visible for this visit. 400,000 Christians, we believe, in Iraq now. That number has collapsed from about 1.5 million some years ago, and he is going to be travelling by plane, by helicopter, still flying over areas where the security battles against IS militants continues. We understand that he'll be travelling also by armoured car, and we expect obviously a degree of excitement from all the Christian communities as Pope Francis reaches out to give them his support. It's also expected that he will visit the northern province of Nineveh, where IS had forced conversions and forced people to flee. Just watching these images, I don't know whether you can see anything at the moment or whether you've managed to glimpse the television set. Ashur Eskrya, director of the Assyrian Aid Society. And Ashur, just explain for me, obviously the Pope leads the Catholic Church, but all Christians presumably will be very interested to follow this visit in the region.
Yes, of course, because it's important for our people in different churches. We believe that the position of Pope as a biggest Christian church, and in addition to that, we have a lot of Assyrian who are member of the Catholic Church, if it's in the Chaldean Church or other churches. And it's important for us, as you mentioned, Mosul, the city he visit. Mosul city was a home for more than 60,000 people from Christian community, different churches in 2003. After ISIS captured city of Mosul and they push all the people to immigrate, they don't kill or pay tax. Since liberation of Mosul until now, the most important challenge is how to bring trust into the community, how to help people to return back. Now, after 3 years of liberation of Mosul, still there is less than 40 families or less than 50 families who from the Christian community who return back to Mosul. And this is important. This visit is important to tell the people how important it is to people, to indigenous people of Mosul, to the Christian community, which were the home for thousands of people, and a lot of historical churches, in addition to Nineveh as a holy city in the Bible and as a historical city for the Assyrian. Is important to bring awareness and attention of the need of people to return back and to build a peace inside the society, accepting each other. This is what is important for all people, especially for the Christian community. Yes.
How concerned do you think people will be for the Pope's own personal safety, not only on security grounds, but against the backdrop of the pandemic, given his age?
I think for the health side, of course, there's a lot of care, wearing mask and the space. Of course, it's not possible to avoid the touching most of people, but still, according to the arrangement, there will be like example for the stadium. The stadium will be the mass for 10,000 people, but there will be a space enough to be space between people. In the churches, like in Baghdad, there will be only 600 people. The capacity of church is more, but in the security, there is all the Iraqis forces from different system of the security, army, police, others all are standby to make everything smooth.
We're just going to listen in as we see these amazing pictures of the Pope being greeted here. musical welcome there with people singing as the Pope walks down through that procession. Some people might be slightly curious that people are not wearing masks but singing, whether there is a health risk there, but we understand the Pope has had a vaccine. I will confirm that as soon as I can. But he's 84 years old, and inevitably there's a great deal of ceremony that is going to surround this trip. And he does come, as we saw, considerable security detail, his own entourage from the Vatican, journalists from around the world following this visit, as you can see. And being greeted there by members of the Christian community in Iraq. It is a visit that is going to use thousands of additional security personnel by Iraq to protect the Pope. There have been a number of rocket and bomb attacks recently, but the Pope is making his first visit outside Italy since the pandemic, and being seen as an emblematic trip for Pope Francis. And he is quoted as saying it is a duty towards a land that has been martyred for so many years. Of course, Christians have been persecuted amongst other minorities in the violence that has taken over this country in recent years. And this is going to be something of a whirlwind tour for the Pope. He's going to be travelling, we think, to around 4 cities in a very short space of time. Plane, helicopter, armoured car, possibly helping with those arrangements. He's due to be saying Mass at a church. He's due to be meeting Iraq's top Shiite cleric in Najaf, and hoping to travel to Mosul in the north also, a former IS stronghold, of course, and Christians very much driven out of some of those northern strongholds. But these are the first images of the Pope in Baghdad wearing a mask. Obviously, all efforts made to protect his own health and personal security, but the message very clear from the Vatican that Pope Francis wanting to go to support that very persecuted community of Christians where the numbers have radically fallen in recent years. We'll be following all the different moves around this visit. There are security and virus concerns, but the Pope, obviously, who has done a lot of work across faiths as well, wanting to say that they want a dialogue. The Vatican wants a dialogue across the faiths too. Those are the latest images coming into us from Baghdad.